Hi, Tony.
Hi.
We're here in Munich. Your full name is Tony Parsons.
Parsons.
Oh, Parsons. Parsons. And you kind of give talks to people in the UK and also internationally.
Yeah.
You read some books also.
Yes.
Yeah. People who are interested can find them on your website. Yeah. And you kind of teach the open secret message.
I communicate the open secret.
Okay.
I'm not a teacher.
Okay.
And the open secret message is not a teaching.
Okay, so here's my first question to you. You know, I sometimes hear we have everything within us. And is there anything we need to learn? Is there anything we need to be taught?
No, but I have to say there isn't anything that needs to be learned or taught, and there isn't an us to have anything in it.
Okay.
This is the difference with this message. It's a radical message which perceives that there is no such thing as a me or an I or self. It's an illusion.
Okay.
So there isn't an us that has something in us. There is only what is.
Okay. Okay, Tony, you just said that there is no I, no you. It's an illusion, you said?
Yes, I can't say there is no I or you, because that sounds as though it doesn't exist.
Okay.
But the arising of the sense of a self or being a separate individual is illusory. The problem for the individual is that they think it's real. That's the illusion. The illusion for the individual is that they think they are a real person. So what the open secret tries to communicate is that the sense of being a real person is both real and unreal. It has no substantiation. So you could call it illusory in that way.
So, knowing that now, is it going to change my life?
No, you won't ever know that there's no you. What the open secret is pointing to is the possibility that the illusion of you being someone, the illusion of the me, simply can collapse, and there is nothing left that knows that it's collapsed. There's just nothing left but what is. That's a so-called liberation. It's the end of the illusion that there is a separate me. But there's nothing that knows that. It just is over, and then there's nothing left but what is. This is a radical message which can't be understood.
Okay. How come you understood that?
I don't understand it. It's just a communication. There isn't anything here that understands it. And I know you're puzzled, but that's, I'm afraid, what it is. It's a communication about something that can't be known by me. The problem for me is it wants to search so that it can know something and attain something and grasp it for itself.
Yeah.
And that activity is completely and utterly futile. Because what the me is looking for, the me lives in a finite reality, and what it's looking for is the infinite. And it can't find or grasp the infinite or know it. When that energy of seeking, when the energy of me suddenly collapses, all there is the infinite.
Is the what?
Is the infinite. Is beingness, is freedom. But there's nobody in that.
Yeah, well, you know, that's the scary part, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the scary. Me is really frightened and rejects this message, because the only way me can go on existing is by knowing that it is real, or dreaming that it is real. Me lives in a dream called I am real. And it also then thinks that me can find enlightenment or fulfillment. It never will. Because actually it longs for its own absence, which is what liberation is.
Okay.
But the only problem with that is that when liberation happens, there isn't anything there or anyone there that then knows that.
Right. Which is crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. This is a crazy message.
Okay. How did you get to that message
I
yourself?
died. I didn't get to it. Tony Parsons was a me who thought he was real, and he was seeking, he was looking for something else called enlightenment, which he thought was real, and then that whole energy of me or Tony Parsons, whatever you like, suddenly wasn't there anymore. It just vanished. And there was nothing left but life. All that was left was aliveness. For no one.
Is that a feeling you have?
No, there's not a feeling, it's just life.
It's a knowing.
Feelings, warmth, sitting on a chair is just what's happening. There isn't anything it's happening to. It's just happening.
Okay, but you still have this I in you.
No, I don't have an I, no. The I that was there is lost, it's vanished. It never was there. The illusion of there being an I is no more. There's a brain that functions and walks through doors and eats dinner, but there's no identity here.
Okay, so don't you think lots of people look for this? What you achieved? This no identity?
The me would like to think that it could achieve liberation, but it never can.
But
it can't be achieved. No, I didn't achieve it. That's the point. I tried to achieve it, and then the I that was trying to achieve it died.
Okay, so I want to achieve this I dying.
Well, you can't. The problem is that me can't dispel itself. An illusion can't dispel itself. The illusion can't make itself die. The illusion, me, doesn't want to die. It doesn't want to hear this message.
Okay, so how come it happened to you?
It didn't happen to me. This is the
I don't get it.
No, nobody gets it.
Okay.
The paradox is that there never was a me seeking enlightenment. It was an illusion. Me is an illusion.
Okay.
Suddenly that illusion collapses, but nobody does it. It just collapses. And the natural reality is what then arises. The natural reality of there just being aliveness, which me can't comprehend at all. Me doesn't understand this message. And all that's left is aliveness, warmth, sound of voices, sitting on a chair.
What people call living in the now.
Well, some people call it living in the now, but I never would, because there is no such thing as now. This is timeless. It's not now, which means that it's before and after.
Okay.
This is not now.
Is there only a now if there is
No,
an
there's no
I?
now. The whole idea of being here now is another absurd story in the story of me. It has no
It's another illusion?
It has no connection with what we're talking about here.
Okay.
So it's not. This is not about living in the moment, living in the now, finding your own true nature. It's about the end of that which wants an answer.
Okay, so how do you know all that?
I don't know anything. There's nothing left that knows anything. All there is life happening, and there's someone sitting there asking, how do you know that? And what comes out is just a response from nowhere. The response coming out right now is coming out of nothing. It's not coming out of a knower or something that is aware or conscious. It just comes out of nothing.
Okay, but it seems to me that, you had kind of a path like this, who's called Tony Parsons path.
In the illusion of me,
Yes.
me thought there was a path.
Yeah, so and then you got suddenly to that point where everything
collapses, including the idea of a path.
did it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was quite obvious
But
that
you
there was
said-
no seeker and no path. How can there be a path to what already is this?
Okay, but it seems like you achieved something, even though you say there's nothing.
Of course I didn't achieve anything because I, Tony Parsons, collapsed or died. So how could that be an achievement? It was the end of Tony Parsons.
Okay.
And the end of the idea that the dualistic idea that there's someone who can move along a path to find something else called enlightenment.
Okay, so how is it for you living, not being there anymore?
So it isn't any way for me. There is no me. All there is what is.
Say that again.
there isn't a particular way that this is for anyone or anything, because there isn't anything left for it to be like that. All there is what is, which is indescribable.
Okay. So you're saying there's no feeling anymore?
Feelings arise, sitting on a chair arises, looking at that face arises.
Okay.
It's what's happening, but it's not happening for anyone anymore.
Okay.
The illusion that that face is arising for something in here has completely collapsed.
Okay.
And also the illusion that this is aware of that face or knows that face also collapses.
Okay.
There just is that face.
Okay. Okay. But you still have emotions.
There isn't anyone that has anything. What you're doing is projecting the idea of a person being here on this. There is no story, no one has emotions, but emotions happen.
Okay, but in my illusion, there's somebody there who still has emotions,
Of course.
feelings, a life.
That's an illusion. The illusion you have there is that there's someone here who is real, who has things. Me is the great big sticky lump that takes ownership of everything, including emotions, wives, houses, enlightenment and everything. There is nothing that owns anything. There is only beingness. All there is here is beingness. Nobody has it. Nobody doesn't have it. It's just what it is.
Okay. Why do you give talks then?
Well, I don't give talks. There's nobody sitting here and there's nobody going to be in there giving talks. There's just a response to apparent seekers asking questions, and that response comes out of no thing.
And those seekers want to be in your position.
They do and they don't. In a way, the seeker, the me, doesn't want to die. It wants to continue. What it wants, what it comes to find, is an answer so that it can continue to live with a formula for life. It's looking for a formula. There aren't any. There aren't any formulas. All there is life.
Okay.
Teachers, there are so-called non-dual teachers, and teachers attempt to help people get a formula or a way of living. The Open Secret absolutely doesn't recognise that there is anyone to find a formula or a way of living. There isn't anyone, so there's no formula. There's just living. This is totally radical and very rare. But if you could say that there was a history of seeking and communication, this message has always been around, but it's always been very hidden. It's hidden. It's only available if there's an openness and readiness to go beyond the sense of self wanting something.
Yeah, and the most scary thing is that there is nothing there anymore.
No, it is scary. Yeah. There's nothing. This is nothing appearing as this.
Yeah, so that is kind of very confusing.
Yeah.
But, let's say I'm still in this illusion of my I, Sabina. I kind of intellectually understand what you're saying.
Never.
No.
No, but
you would say no.
Clarity about this is not liberation, it's just another way of seeing things. For me can be very clear about what's being communicated.
Yeah.
I know lots of people who come to my meetings who could write this down, but that is clarity about this message. It's not freedom. It's only understanding the sense of this message. It's not the end of the seeker.
The end of the seeking?
No, clarity is not anything other than something that the seeker now owns. But liberation doesn't happen through clarity. Separation is an energy. It's not a thought or belief or an idea. So you can't come to enlightenment through thinking or ideas or beliefs. Separation is a contracted energy. And liberation is simply the melting of that energy back into the whole. Apparently. Apparently.
Does it happen by itself?
You could say it happens by itself, But the other awful part of this message is that when suddenly the illusion of me drops away, it is recognised that there never was a me, and there never was contracted energy, and there is no such thing as a seeker or liberation or an energetic shift. It's only a way of describing it, but actually it doesn't happen.
So everybody who says who's enlightened is then probably not enlightened.
I'd like to say either way. If somebody says they're enlightened, it's obvious that they aren't.
Because they
there's
have an
nothing
eye.
here that could be enlightened. Nobody becomes enlightened.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, still I think you, who probably doesn't exist.
Matter. It doesn't matter. I use the word I, but it's only a figure of speech.
You have something I don't have.
Well, in a sense, it's the other way round. You have something I don't have. You have you. I've lost you.
Is it a good thing that you lost?
No, it's not good for anyone. It's freedom. Everything is lost here. All that's left is life.
So it's freedom?
So that's freedom. There isn't anyone in it that's being lived. They're just life.
So freedom, does it mean there's no worries anymore?
No, it doesn't really mean in that way. Any anxiety can arise, anything can arise, but it doesn't arise for anyone. There isn't anyone that's anxious. There's just energy, there's emotions, there's sound, and all of that arises out of nothing and falls back into nothing, and there's nothing there that's separate to it. It just is what it is, and that's freedom.
Okay, but what do you do if you're worried? Let's say
there isn't anything here that does anything. There's just worry. I'm not trying to interrupt you.
Okay, so there is only this worry and worrying about something, and then?
I have to say that actually worry really is something that hardly ever arises. But if there's a story which in some way or other needs dealing with, then that in the brain would function to deal with that story, if that's what. But it isn't anyone that's worrying. It's only the brain functioning in a certain way to deal with the circumstance.
Okay, so let's say I'm coming to you as like needing advice. What do I do if I'm in great worry?
I can't give you advice because there's no one to help.
Okay.
The only thing I can go on pointing, or this can go on pointing to, is that everything is what it is already, and there's nobody there that has the choice to change this or that. No separate individual has free will and choice.
Yeah, that's something you said, that also the newest neuroscientists found out that there's no free will and there's no choice. Can you explain that?
Oh, neuroscientists, strange enough, this started in Germany some 10 or 12 years ago in Frankfurt. Neuroscientists did various experiments and established that there is no such thing, or the idea that there's an individual with free will and choice is illusory. The brain constructs an artificial energy called me. So me or self is a construct of the brain, which comes and goes. It is there and then it isn't there. But the me that is constructed believes it has free will and choice. That's illusory. The brain, in a sense, you could say, the brain at that level, which is only a computer, runs everything. Chooses tea or coffee. Then it tells me that it's going to choose tea or coffee. When there's no me, there's simply tea or coffee.
Okay. Okay. Again, if we don't have a choice and not a free will, that feels like I'm like lost of any goal, you know. Don't we need a goal in life? Like
me
something
needs
to
a goal.
head?
Oh, me needs a goal. Me needs to hope and dream.
The I and the you needs that.
Yeah, the I and the you, the me, what I call me.
Yeah, okay.
The self.
Okay.
needs, goals and hopes and dreams.
Okay.
All of those collapse when me collapses.
Okay, so either it collapses or it doesn't.
No.
So I don't need to head for it, I don't need to do anything
You
about
can't,
it.
there isn't anyone there that can do anything. That,
So-
to me, is helpless.
So do you think it's like something like a higher plan?
No, there's no plan. What I start my talks with usually is that all there is energy. That everything is energy, everything is
Like-
energy. And it has no director, nothing is directing it, it has no intention. There isn't something out there that wants everybody to be liberated.
So there's no God?
No
God
God.
is an energy for you.
Well, all there is energy. There's no separate figure that runs this.
How do you know that?
I don't know anything, I'm just responding out of nothing.
Is it some,
Nothing is saying there's nothing but energy.
is it something you know from your experience?
No,
You feel it?
no.
You just know.
No, I don't know anything. This doesn't come out of a knowing. This is a response out of nothing to the question, is there a God?
I know what you're saying.
No, the problem with me is that it thinks it can only get anywhere by knowing anything. Actually, knowing or being aware of this or that is a way of keeping it separate.
Yeah.
The way we keep, you're sitting on the chair there, and the me is aware of sitting on the chair, and that's how it keeps separate from what is, which is just sitting on a chair. So this doesn't know anything, isn't aware of anything. It just, there isn't an it to be aware, there isn't a centre here to know, there just is life. All that's left is life.
Okay. Let's talk about the people who are not,
No, who are still in the illusion of being.
who are still in that illusion. Okay. What advice do you have for them?
None at all. There is no. The difference between the Open Secret and a teaching is that the Open Secret offers absolutely nothing at all to the me or the I, because it doesn't recognise that there is a real me or I to give any advice to. It recognises that the I or the me is illusory, and there is nothing that would help the I to be anything else, because that's its nature. All this can do is expose the myth of there being anything like separation or personal enlightenment. And all it can also do is point to the nature of what is, and the absolute paradox that no thing is simultaneously being everything.
I like your face.
And in some way or other, it's incredible. I mean, I've been talking for 10 or 12 years now, all over the place, and in some way or other, because there's a resonance, the me comes to these meetings and starts to collapse and fall away, and then suddenly it's not there anymore, and there is just that. But nobody does that. It's suddenly, in a way you could say, when this message is presented from nowhere, in the me, there's a sudden, not in the me, not out of the me, but in the body of that person that's listening, there's a sudden, aha. So that's it. All this seeking I've been doing. I've been rushing around to India and teachers and sitting in caves and eating rice, trying to find something, trying to get somewhere, and actually what I longed for has never left me. It's always been this. What is? People phone me up constantly and say, Tony, this is amazing. I've died, it's all over. And what's left never came and never went away.
Okay, there's more people you met that happened to.
A lot more, yeah, a lot of it's happening a great deal. Not only because of this, but it's happening elsewhere, of course, as well.
Do you think?
There is a shift in the world, away from authority and teaching to something anarchic. In a way, this is pure anarchy. This is pure freedom. There's no hierarchy. There's no lineage. There's no authority. There's nothing to look up to and try and achieve. There's just freedom.
It sounds great.
Oh, it's amazing for no one.
It's amazing for no one, because there is no one. Okay, just want to get this clear, even if I asked already 10 times.
No, it's fine.
It just, to you, it just happened. It just, suddenly there is no I that
no separation,
came
no
and
separation,
went.
no separation.
There's no separation. With the I is the thinking of a separation.
Yeah.
So suddenly there is just nothing that ever went and came. So suddenly there is only
what is.
What is, and it feels like freedom.
Well, you can't say there's something there that records the feeling of freedom. There's just freedom.
Mm-hmm. Also, there is a gasp.
A gap?
Yeah, like nothing.
Well, there's only...
The scary thing.
Yeah, for the me, this is deadly scary.
For the me, it's scary,
Oh,
but since
really?
there is no me,
But
it's
when
not
it
scary.
happens, it's not at all scary. It's the most simple and natural thing that could happen.
Okay.
Because suddenly a tree is seen, suddenly the sky is seen, suddenly another person is seen as they really are, which is nothing being a person, which is real and unreal. Suddenly that is real and unreal, instead of being another object over there that's separate.
With a story.
The me never sees the sky or a tree, it sees an object that it thinks of as a tree or the sky. Whereas the tree is energy floating and appearing to be a tree.
That's how it is now.
Yeah.
Do you believe, since you said there is no God, there is only energy, do you think energy attracts energy, like good energy attracts good energy, bad energy attracts bad energy, or is there no such thing as...
No, there's no... when the me collapses, what collapses with it is the idea that there's good and bad, better or worse. There just is what is. But energy can take any form. It can be contracted or loose. So energy can apparently attract energy, sure. But there isn't in that any sense that there's something better than anything else.
Okay, but does the same energy kind of attract the same energy? Because I noticed that I meet very different people for the last few years than like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that can all apparently happen. As long for the me, it seems like a story. When the me collapses, there's no story, and everything that's happening is in a way wonderfully, gloriously meaningless. There's no hidden meaning in what happens. There just is simply what happens. But energy can certainly, be this or that or anything. It's free.
Okay, so, and the me wants to understand the whole picture now. So is this like being here, is this like a computer game we're in? No, this is no thing. This manifestation is no thing appearing to be something happening. But it must be meaning. It must be something like a game, like a creation.
Yeah, but it has no meaning or purpose. It just is.
Okay.
And don't forget the other incredibly impossible thing to realise is that there is no time, there is no past or future, there isn't the world happening in a story, there just is what is, which is the infinite. It's impossible, you can't, nobody can understand that.
So you said there's like a shift, change, but that is in an illusionary world.
Yeah, that's only apparent, it's not real.
It's only in that illusion.
Yeah, I mean, contracted energy is only apparent. It's an illusion. Yeah. And the fact that illusion seems to melt back into boundless freedom is only a way of describing something that actually doesn't happen, because there is no such thing as contracted energy or boundless energy. There is only what is. It's a way of using words to try and describe something that's absolutely beyond the words. And in the meetings, we use words. Obviously, we're sharing questions and so on. But actually, the most liberating thing in the meeting is beyond the words.
Yeah, and actually there is nothing to talk about at all.
There's nothing to talk about. There's lots of silence that goes on in there or in residentials. People talk about, what about me? What about me? What about my meditation? Or whatever. And then it goes,
yeah.
There's nothing to talk about, you're right.
Yeah, the way you answer the questions, there is no interview at all to do.
No.
Yeah, which is hard for me. What
Yes,
a
of
great
course.
job I'm doing here.
No, absolutely not. It's lovely what you're doing. It's lovely because what's happening here right now is the exposure of the myth of separation and imprisonment, and what we're sharing together is the absolute joy of freedom. That's great. Whee!
Here's the face again. Okay, so back to the illusion now.
Yeah.
I live in this illusion. That's my life. There's a Sabina, there's an I. So is it? Would you say it's just fine to head for things, to just have goals if I feel?
Sabina, who is I with goals and all this, is the absolute expression of wholeness. It can't be anything else, otherwise there'd be a dualistic reality. Seeking and all those things like separation are absolutely the expression of wholeness. They are wholeness appearing to be seeking and separate. There's nothing right or wrong with them. They are what is.
Okay, so this feeling of separation is it is wholeness too. We only think it is not.
That's the dilemma for me, is that it is wholeness thinking it isn't wholeness.
Okay, so everything that happens to me, it's wholeness.
Yeah, absolutely.
But knowing that, why can't I stop suffering?
Knowing it isn't the end of the idea that it's not wholeness. Knowing it is wholeness is a concept.
It's a concept.
When that
again.
dies,
and
when that dies, give me a ring.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, and then you can say, it's all right, I know that this can't be known.
Then we have another interview with only silence.
Great. Great, we should both sit together.
I only need the face. Yeah, so then I think it's just fine for everybody who still likes that illusion or is in that illusion to just go on.
No problem.
And okay, so but what could help? You know, if I'm in deep shit, if things just don't go right, do I just let go of trying to make it right?
No, absolutely. There's nothing that me can do. It's totally helpless. And the idea of letting go, there are some people out there that call themselves non-dual teachers, and they say to people, just let go, accept that all there is oneness.
Yes.
It's impossible for me to do that because the nature of me is to live in what's next. It's always living in what will be.
So that is fine too?
Or what has been. It's absolutely what it is.
But then it would be fine to just let go too.
If that could happen, but what's illusory is the idea that there is a me that can choose to let go.
So whatever you choose is fine.
Well, no, there is
Since there is
nobody
no
that
choice.
chooses. No.
Yeah, but you know, we think that we choose.
I know
things.
we do. It's a lovely dream, but it isn't.
Yeah, but still, I'm in this illusion, thinking that I have a choice, and whatever choice I make, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, of course, the idea of that construct is okay, but it's illusory, and it goes on promoting the idea that there's someone there who can choose to make their story better. What's always dissatisfying for me is the sense of being separate. There's a sense of lack, which drives it on to seek fulfillment. So it doesn't matter. If I said to you, it's absolutely fine to be a seeker, those are words. It doesn't mean that you will then be comfortable with being separate. Actually, in one way I wanted to say to you that I don't think we necessarily need this interview to go on for an hour, because the problem with this, well, not the problem, but the nature of this message is it leaves you speechless, really.
Yeah, we already got it after a few minutes.
I mean, you could ask dozens of questions, you'll get the same response.
Yeah. Let me just...
Yeah, sure.
look at
No,
this.
absolutely.
Let me just... Okay. I know that right now I'm looking for a concept. I can tell from knowing what you told me. I just need a concept of how I can go on with my life, even knowing what you told me. Because I only can intellectually get it.
Yeah, sure.
Since there is no way to achieve it,
No.
it just happens or not.
No.
Well, it didn't happen to me,
No.
so I kind of need a concept.
Okay, so go and find a teacher. You won't get anything from this, but you could go and find a teacher. I mean, there are even people out there that claim to be non-dual teachers. If you go and speak to them, they'll give you something that will help you, which is absolute dualism. But you won't get anything from here.
You mean there are teachers who don't teach what you say?
Well, there are people
Because you're
who
not a
claim to
teacher?
be non-dual teachers, but what they're actually doing is trying to help a seeker find something else called enlightenment or fulfillment. That is pure dualism.
But you said there's nothing, there's no way to seek.
I know,
for
but they
that.
believe there is.
Oh, they believe. And then they say, do you think, those teachers say you have to meditate, you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you kind of have to...
Yeah. Well, they might just say to you, just accept that there is only oneness already. Just deeply accept that there's only oneness. But who's going to deeply accept there's only oneness? Or they might say to you, ask who it is that's there. They might help you or try and suggest to you that you do what's called self-inquiry.
That is annoying, that question. I had lots of people saying that to me.
Well, it's all based
who is
on,
there?
It's a game based on an illusion, because they say you know that you exist, so now you go on trying to develop or focus your awareness so that everything happens. It's then seen that everything arises in present awareness, which is actually a misnomer for everything arising for me. Self-inquiry is a completely dualistic operation which goes on emphasizing the sense of knowing. But that which is can't be known. So it's beyond knowing.
But still, you know. I mean,
No, I don't know.
that energy here knows.
No, it doesn't. Nothing is known. There's only energy. What is doesn't need to know itself to be what is.
Because there is no...
It just, why would it need to know that it is? If it needed to know that it is what is, it would have to stand apart to know itself. That's the problem for me. It constantly wants to know itself because it's frightened of not knowing. Self-inquiry comes from the fear of not knowing. Well, thank you, Tony. Thank you. You left me speechless. Oh, sweetheart. Questionless. That's lovely, thank you. Yeah. I mean, it's great to do this, because somewhere there's an openness to this there. There's some sort of resonance which is beyond me, which recognises this. Yeah. Well, I find it the hardest, to go on living. Yeah. But when you get up and walk away from here, there'll only be what is. What you long for will never leave you. It never leaves you. It's there all the time. What is constantly there. There's nothing else. But there is this question, what am I going to do with my life? Well, I know, but you want to know what is, but you never will. You want to know what to do with your life. Yeah, you never will. You don't have a life to do anything with.
Okay.
You don't have a life to do anything with. All there is life. There isn't anything that owns life.
Yeah, but in this illusion I have, I have to pay my rent, I have to do this and this, be there for my kids, I have to.
That's the dream. Actually, looking after your kids and paying the rent is something that just happens. You don't do it. It happens, and then you, the me, says, I'm doing this. It owns it, takes ownership.
Well, yeah, my brain maybe understands. I still feel I didn't get answers, you know.
I know, but
in my illusion, I did not get any answers.
No, you never will. There aren't any.
Okay. So I'll just do whatever comes up.
Yeah.
So now I got a concept.
No, absolutely. Me can't live without the concept of, well, I'm just going to do what I do. It can't live without that. It has to.
We need a concept.
Yeah, absolutely.
The me needs a concept. Okay. So
thank you very much.
Hopefully talk to you later. No,
Okay,
stare at you later.
Yeah! Okay.
Thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you.